I teased it on yesterday's episode to the 199, the loyal third segment listeners, and I'll double down again. And I will stand in the paint, and I will take anybody coming this way. A&M fan, Texas fan, Texas fan. I see you, y'all trolling yourselves with some of the stuff about the combine.
He was
Tennessee
so fast,
fans,
though, Clint. He was
they were so fast. I'm going to say this: Georgia has 3 players in this year's draft that in 3 to 5 years could very well, in all possibility, not probability, not just it is quite literally on the cusp that we have the 3 best position players on offense of their particular position in this year's draft. I'm doubling down. We're going to talk about that next on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. He is Clint. He looks confused, but I am Daniel, and I'm not confused. And we are so glad that you are here today. Thanks for making us your first listen. Appreciate you all. Today's episode brought to you by our good friends at Nissan. Shop now at nissanusa.com. More on them in a moment. Clint, we're talking about offensive players. We talked about 3 defensive players yesterday, and we think they're all going to be pretty dang good. Spoiler alert.
Have no reason. Film, measurables, results, combine, all green light. Probably going to be very good.
Go back and listen to that. We talked about Javon Buller. We talked about Tyke Smith. We talked about Kamari Lassiter. We talked about those guys on yesterday's show. Today, we're talking about 3 offensive players, and there's a decent chance you've heard of them. Their names are Brock Bowers, Amarius Mims, and Lad McConkey. They all went to the combine.
They did.
And they're all going to be drafted into the National Football League to play football. And Clint thinks that in 5 years' time, there's a reasonable chance that all 3 of them might be the very best player at their position in the entire NFL. Now, listen, if you think he's crazy. I think one of them is a lock in 5 years to be the best player at his position. 2 years.
2 years.
All right. Oh, look at my man. In the next 2 years, a lock to be the best player at his position.
Correct.
One of them, there's nothing you could look at him and say the ceiling isn't there.
Correct.
Right? And then the third one is the one people are gonna raise their eyebrows at. People are gonna be like, are you serious? That guy, the best in the entire NFL. We're gonna get to it. I'm gonna give you the honors today, Clint. We got 3 segments. We got 3 names. We're going to talk about them and how they performed at the combine, what we anticipate from their NFL career, the highlights, if you will.
Sure.
But I'm going to give you honors on the tee box. Which name do you want to start with here in segment 1?
It's the name that I'm becoming more upset each and every time I hear people speak about him.
Yeah.
And actually there's 2 of them.
Put some respect on it.
Put some respect on this man's name. Stop being lazy. Stop being stereotypical. And stop simply looking at the color of this man's skin and making observations that he's somebody he's not. Okay? Just truly, I don't know how else to say that in a more direct way. Okay? Lazy NFL people.
Yeah.
Because Lad McConkey, I think he has the chance. Not only could he be this year's Puka Nacua, which setting NFL records for rookies. Sure. Okay. He's possession. He's got that. But I'm genuinely telling you that when his rookie contract is up and a team is staring down the barrel of signing him to an altering contract, they're not going to blink twice about it because the guy just goes out there and performs. And the more that I hear people talk about it, the more that I hear evaluators say something along the lines of, he's a good slot. He's a good possession. He can get that quick 5-6 yards. What you're telling me, again, NFL people, what you're saying to me is that you have never watched
You're
one
lazy.
game of football that he has played so far while at Georgia.
But
You're
Clint, what's
lazy.
their job?
To evaluate players based on their performance of game film in college.
Oh, so not only are you saying they've not watched football, which we've all done,
Sure.
but you're saying they've fundamentally failed to do their one job, is
One
what
job.
you're saying. Because Clint, he probably played a lot of slot at Georgia. Didn't he play a lot of slot when he was at Georgia? That's probably where he got the bulk of his snaps.
No,
Probably
outside.
60-70% of his snaps came from the slot.
You should invert those numbers, Daniel.
Oh, I see. So 60 to 70% of his snaps came on the outside, but probably the bulk of his receiving yards came when he was in the slot. Is that right?
Do it again, but again, invert it, Daniel.
Oh, I see. So the bulk of his receiving yards came when he was an outside receiver. But playing in the SEC, he didn't go head to head against any NFL caliber corners when he was matched up on an island on the outside, did he? He was probably matched up against linebackers and safeties because, again, he only plays in the slot. Is that right?
One more time, all NFL people,
Okay.
you are stupid
You're
and
an idiot.
foolish, and you're an idiot. And I don't know why you have a job. I don't know how you have a job.
Let me be fair to the NFL GMs. Okay.
Wow. Okay. I
If
did not see the
you
twist.
were an NFL GM, okay,
Mhm.
let me just first say this. Lad McConkey, after this combine, not before it, he absolutely went out and sliced the head off this combine and mounted it on his wall. After this combine, Lad McConkey has elevated himself, I think, to an early second round grade.
Yes.
I think
Within
he
the
will
first
be
10 picks of the second round.
I think he will be the 7th wide receiver taken. This could be the most loaded wide receiver class that
Ever.
the NFL draft has seen in a long time. And so let's be fair to the NFL GMs out there.
Okay.
If
All right.
you were an NFL general manager and you were making a big board of wide receivers to draft, what position does Lad McConkey come in on your board?
I see what you're saying.
Because it's
Okay.
not one for me. It ain't 7.
It's not
But
7.
it's not one for me. If it's me, I have Lad McConkey 4th on my board
Okay.
in terms of all the wide receivers in the draft.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
Rome Odunze 1. I have
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors 2. I have Marvin Harrison 3. And I
Okay.
have Lad McConkey 4. And I think the only reason that I have those 3 guys ahead of Lad is because they physically have something that Lad does not and will never have. Now, that being said, I think Lad is as good of a wide receiver as any of those players in every single aspect of playing the
Correct.
position.
Yes.
And I think while I would rank him 4th on my draft board,
Okay.
I would not be surprised if what you said is correct. And look, nobody had Puka Nacua number
No one.
1 on their draft board last year for wide receivers. Who was the best wide receiver in last year's class based on football results? It's not close.
No.
It's Puka Nacua. And so that doesn't mean that that what you said at the top can't be true. And he might just come out and say, I'm going to be the best wide receiver that comes out of this class.
Again, many of us can go and say something along the lines of A.D. Mitchell, right? You want to look at A.D. Mitchell and you want to say, hey, he's a guy that I would take in this draft ahead of Lad. They're nearly identical. Like, if that's your argument, they're nearly identical in every single facet: size, speed, agility, acceleration. almost the same person.
What facet are they not nearly identical in? It's production.
Production.
And
Lad has more.
Lad and AD are not even relatively close in terms of the way that they impact a game.
AD's
Down
got 2 inches on him. That's
down in and down out. They like Lad McConkey is going to be a better NFL wide receiver than AD Mitchell.
There it is.
Period.
I'm fine with that.
And AD Mitchell is 20 times better than Xavier Worthy. In case Texas fans are still listening.
But he can, in a straight line with no pads,
better than Xavier Worthy.
But did you see him run the 40, Daniel?
Surely did. Henry Ruggs also ran the 40.
Oh no, we're gonna come back to this. Daniel's gonna tee us up, and he's gonna tell us about a player that performed well at the combine. But first, these. And these are, in fact, FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. You teed me up. I'll tee you up, Daniel. I gave you Lad McConkey. Who do you want to talk about next? There are 2 other notable names, not all the names for Georgia, but 2 other notable names, Amarius Mims, as well as Brock Bowers. Cedric Van Pran was out there. All the players were. However, Kendall Milton, sure. But of those 2, those stood above the rest. Who do you want to talk about next?
Let's talk about Brock Bowers, shall we,
Please.
Clint? Speaking of put some respect on it, NFL GMs are going to NFL GM themselves right out of their jobs. And Brock Bowers is going to be Exhibit A when the prosecution is presenting their case against some of the malpractice that has happened in NFL front offices. Because, Clint, we just said this might be one of the deepest wide receiver classes that the NFL Combine has ever seen. And what's going to happen is, just wait for me here. What's going to happen is teams are going to have an opportunity at Brock Bowers. But the shiny object in front of them and at the wide receiver spot is going to be there. And they're going to say, well, what about, why would we take Brock Bowers when Marvin Harrison Jr. is right here? If we need a pass catcher, Clint, we need a pass catcher. Why wouldn't we take Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk, Malik Neighbors? Why wouldn't we take these guys ahead of Brock Bowers? Sure, we could get Brock Bowers, but we could just get somebody else at tight end. We've got a chance at a game-changing wide receiver here.
Now, it's really weird, Daniel. I'm just going to hit your hypothetical if you're playing that game. I'm going to hit you with another kind of hypothetical. What if I was to tell you that there was a team who let every known wide receiver walk out their doors, had the most drops in the entire NFL, but kept the one pass catcher they wanted to, made sure to retain him and hold him high and keep him in the locker room? And they went on to win a Super Bowl with wide receivers dropping the most passes in the entire league.
No, that's weird.
That's weird because they kept, and again, the best tight end in the entire league who changed the entirety of a Super Bowl on one play, running past Fred Warner for a huge pickup. It's insane to me.
It's just simple malpractice of not understanding football. Who covers the wide receivers, Clint?
DBs.
Yeah, so can the best DBs in the National Football League cover Rome Odunze, Marvin Harrison, Jalen Polk, Malik Neighbors. Not 100 times out of 100, but by and large, can the best DBs in the league cover those wide receivers? Yeah.
Yeah.
They can. It's their job. That's what they do. Who covers the tight ends, Clint?
The aforementioned slower Fred Warners of the world who try to keep up with Travis Kelce.
The linebackers and safeties, you're saying, Clint? Now, let me ask you this right now, today.
Okay.
Can the best linebackers in the National Football League even dream of covering Brock Bowers now?
I'm here to tell you, no, they cannot.
No way, no how. It is why is Todd Monken paid so much money right now? Because he understands that when you have a mismatch, you exploit it. And that's exactly what he has made his living doing. Brock Bowers is a walking, living mismatch. There is no player in the NFL that you can line up opposite him and cover him, period. That means your team has a distinct advantage as soon as they line up on the field every single snap of the football. It's not even close who will have more impact on their team this year, the best wide receivers in this class or Brock Bowers. It's not even close.
And this is where Brock Bowers, I think, has the opportunity. If we're talking fits for all these gentlemen, Amarius Mims might have a good source of this too. But if you just look at what Brock Bowers is able to accomplish in the NFL, it's going to be because one of these teams is taking a higher graded quarterback, or just a quarterback in general, or a wide receiver or a tackle or something along those lines. And Brock slips because tight end position isn't looked upon, which is, again, crazy to me. Because if you look, listener, you know this. Look at what the Patriots are able to do when Patriots said, how about we just take a couple of Gronkowskis out there and do work? How about we take Travis Kelce? How about the Niners with Kittle? If you look at the upper crust, you can get by with finding a Puka Nacua, a Cooper Kupp. You can find those guys somewhere in the draft. You cannot find Kittles. You cannot find Laportas. And people are saying, well, they weren't drafted aside. Look where Laporta went. Okay, I'm fine. But if you were to redraft, if you were to say to an NFL team, I can give you Laporta, I can give you Gronkowski, I can give you Kittle, I can give you the Swifties are in love. I can give you Travis Kelce somewhere in the draft that are higher than what they got. You would all take it. 6'3", 243, had measurables off the score everywhere. Production off the score everywhere. No linebacker can keep up with this guy. No DB can keep up with him and contest the catches that he's going to be able to make and be able to run past people. He is an instant day one impact. And I think where he goes in the draft is going to be pretty dang good, because at the end of the day, he's going to slip to a highly functional offense, and he's going to be a key added piece within that to make team and offense just accelerate. It's going to be incredible. We're going to come back after this, talk about one more Georgia prospect that showed out, and that's Amarius Mims. But first, these. And these are, in fact, Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. For instance, the 2024 Nissan Rogue is perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive, Google built-in, is always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play stores are built in right to the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. What about the Nissan Pathfinder? Has room for up to 8, expansive cargo space, advanced ability 4x4, 284 horse, 6,000 pounds of towing. Adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. Take the Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, and Nissan Armada to go find your next big adventure. Shop nissanusa.com.
All right, Clint, let's quickly end the episode by talking about Amarius Mims.
Sure. Sure.
He's He is just one of those guys that doesn't make sense. I remember taking my son to Athens.
Yes.
3 years ago now.
It was.
It was a long time ago. And we were standing in line for the dog walk, standing down there near the Tate Center, right at the dog walk, watching all the guys go by. Had gotten up to the front there so my son could have a good view. And Jordan Davis came by. And it was obviously a highlight for my son. You know, Jordan Davis, larger than life figure, metaphorically and literally larger than life. And he came by, and just the awe that washed over my son's face and all of that. Great moment. And then about 5 minutes later, a true freshman, 18-year-old named Amarius Mims walked by us. And I do not exaggerate when I say that the difference between these two individuals' size was profound. Amarius Mims is massive. He is the biggest person I've ever seen in real life.
It turns out that sentiment is not just shared by you, but the entirety of NFL writers are enamored with this kid's size.
You can't see him in real life and not be enamored. But it is stark when you see him. And then what he does, Clint, is he lines up in some of these drills. I mean, looking like Shaq in the NBA, like he's not even playing the same sport as some of these other people. He lines up in some of these drills, and you think, well, a person this size, Clint, he can't move. Surely he's not going to be able to move. And then what happens is you realize he got that burst in him. Like, this kid's legitimately athletic. Athletic.
Like, put a ball in his hand and go hoop it up and see. Don't look at him and be like, oh, let's put him down on the post. No. Put him out on the wing and let him handle some things, because he's going to go ahead and do so.
We thought Broderick Jones was athletic, and he was. Turns out Amarius Mims. Ooh, Lord, Clint. The ceiling is high.
When I talk about, again, looking, you never know. They have to go out and perform. So don't hear me saying these things and hear me saying I'm calling my shot that they have to be. And if they don't, it's a total fair. What I'm saying is they could be in 5 years the best player at their position. What I'm saying is nothing is inhibiting that from being the case.
That's right.
Physicality there, production there. Amarius Mims did not let any boy anywhere come close to Carson Beck. Okay. And I say boy because that is a man that's out there playing tackle. And stop with the left tackle, right tackle crap. Stop it. You need tackles in the NFL. It's antiquated. It's over. It's done.
Just so we're clear, they got pass rushers on both sides in the big boy league. Okay. Like, they don't just have the one. Okay. Some teams like the Falcons, they ain't got none of them. They got none, zero. Most teams have got more than just the one. You need tackles, not one tackle.
Quick question. Yeah. If you're a Falcons fan and the draft comes around.
Nope. Stop. You don't watch. You can't watch.
What do you do?
You don't watch.
I just
take your family out to dinner or something.
Guys,
I don't know.
I'm trying to encourage you. Find a different team to cheer for. It's not trading on your state or your city. Find a different
sport. College basketball is a heck of a lot of fun. You don't even have to cheer for Georgia. I know you won't. But find a different sport. Do something with your life.
Amarius Mims has everything exceptional about him: size, speed, athleticism, production, mentality, everything. The
kid's going to be a beast in the NFL.
Teams being rumored for right now, speaking of the Falcons, Amarius Mims to the Saints at 14, all the way down to 21 at the Dolphins. He's not going to last. I've seen some people mock him down to the Niners at the end of the first round. He's not making it to the end of the first round. There will be 2 dogs taken very close, within 3 or 4 picks of each other. Brock Bowers and Amarius Mims will go very, very soon after each other.
There's a chance, by the way, Clint. There's a chance Amarius Mims could be taken ahead of Brock Bowers in this draft. I'm telling you, Brock Bowers
a
might
high
slide
chance
that far. He might slide that far, and Amarius Mims might rise that far.
Amarius Mims
will not be able to get over how big he is.
No,
they
will interview him.
Shake it. They won't be able to forget.
No,
I can't forget. He's massive.
And again, when you think about Trent Williams, tackle, Niners,
sure,
Hall of Famer. The reason that he's got incredible tenacity, he's got incredible technique, but he is also one of the biggest human beings in the NFL. He stands in front of 50 other players who try to pick fight, and he just stands there. Like there's no moving him. It's Aaron Donald, but on an offensive tackle. It's freakish.
That's this kid. All right, we'll be back the rest of the week talking more Georgia Bulldogs. Until then, he's Clint. I'm Daniel. Thanks so much for being with us today, and we'll see you guys then.
See ya.